Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's show, we're talking about the latest in the Ezekiel Elliott saga. Plus, has Aaron Rodgers surpassed the legacy of Packers legend Brett Favre? Also, the Lakers appear to be putting on a full-court press to lure LeBron. Will it work? Skip, Shannon, let's debate. Let's get it started. Start with the latest on Ezekiel Elliott. Dallas police are suspending their investigation into an incident at a Dallas bar on Sunday night that allegedly involved Ezekiel Elliott. The police say they have attempted to contact the alleged victim, but he has not responded and no witnesses have come forward. The NFL said on Monday they were looking into the incident as well. Shannon, what does it tell you that the investigation has stopped?
Skip, I don't really like to get in speculation and conjecture and innuendo, but for this segment, I'm going to have to speculate. There's a great chance that down the line, monetarily,
oh, you're going there. Aha. Money has changed hands?
Yes, I believe so.
Closed mouths?
Skip, it's hard for me to believe. Now, Sunday night, I think when this incident happened, witnesses stepped up. It was one, Ezekiel Elliott. Now, I've gone to a bar, and I'm an anomaly. I go to the bars, and I didn't drink. But it's hard for me to believe that all the people there, some of them probably had a little something to drink, they said it was Zeke. Now, I'm thinking come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, everybody is going to be of clear mind, sober mind. I don't know who it was. I wasn't even there. So now nobody didn't see nothing. They don't know nothing. I hear nothing. This is Dallas. And as you mentioned before, the Cowboys, their players are worshiped. They're revered, especially the really good ones. That young man is a really good one.
Yep.
And for me, Skip, I think the NFL is going to say, you know what? This is conduct unbecoming an NFL player. This is conduct detrimental to the team. Because although he hasn't been charged with anything, there is a reoccurring theme, and the common denominator is Zeke. Those two incidences, one in Ohio, one in South Florida, was investigated. Okay. Investigated, they say nothing happened. But I don't really want my players being investigated for this. Him pulling that female's top down on St. Patrick's Day, I don't really want my players involved in this. You spoke about the incident that happened, and nobody else seemed to know about it in Dallas, but somehow.
There was another one, just like this last one on Sunday night.
Yes, and this incident right here. And we got the speeding in April of last year. It was this year, speeding and all this going on.
He's appealing, but yes.
Yeah, I don't know how he gets out of that one, but anyway.
Going 100 in a 70-mile-an-hour zone.
So with that, Skip, I think the NFL is saying, you know what, Zeke, you're not getting the message. You keep running through these red lights, and he's one of these guys, Skip. You know, you're a child, and you try to explain to him, that's hot, don't touch it. Hot. They don't get the picture until they actually touch it. Hot. See, Ezekiel, he don't believe it's hot, Skip. He's going to have to get burnt first. And then he's going to realize it. But, Skip, a lot of this, and Ezekiel is a grown man. I'm not going to keep saying he's a kid. He is a grown man. He's making grown man decisions.
I don't know about that, but keep going.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give him grown man.
Yeah, he grown, Skip. Right. But I'm going to place a lot of this blame at Jerry Jones's feet, because Jerry Jones has become Al Davis of the South. Al Davis would take anybody, he would play anybody as long as you weren't incarcerated on game day. And that would be the only reason that he wouldn't play you. This started when Jerry bought the team, and he let Michael Irvin and all these guys do whatever they wanted to do as long as they came to prepare to play.
Just a quick point for you. Everything Jerry learned about the NFL, he learned starting in 1989 when he bought the team, and in 1990 and 91 from Al Davis.
Yep.
Why did he invite the Oakland Raiders down to Cowboys training camp to scrimmage against them? So that he could have dinner every night with his mentor, Al Davis. Everything he knows, he learned at the knee of Al Davis. Keep going.
Skip, it's hard for me to believe, and I know it's going to be hard for you to believe, that Zeke all of a sudden came into some money and he started exhibiting this type of behavior. This is who Ezekiel Elliott was at Ohio State.
True.
This is probably why his daddy uprooted himself from Missouri and moved to Ohio, Columbus, so he could be close to Ezekiel. Now, he keeps saying that his son is naive to being a superstar and what it encapsulates. Zeke's not naive. He knows this behavior is unacceptable, but he's also been coddled. When you are a great athlete, Skip, people will do things to protect you because at the end of the day, you're worth more to them being on the field than off of it. Jerry Jones realizes what this young man can do and how he can help him get to his ultimate goal again, which is winning the Super Bowl. Jerry needs to crack down. Stop he's a great player. We're not arguing that. He's a great person. Sometimes great people do bad and dumb things. And maybe that's what we're seeing here, Skip. But Jerry needs to stop condoning this type of behavior and say, Zeke, it's unacceptable. And I'm going to sit you down. Now, I'm just what he should do. You and I both know that's not exactly. It's not going to happen. But so Skip, if I can do whatever I want to do and I'm not held accountable for my actions, what's to stop me from doing said action? Nothing. Nothing. But let me tell you who will. See, Jerry came up under Commissioner Tagliabue. Commissioner Tagliabue was very slow to take players off the field, especially for off-the-field behavior. But this guy, his successor, Roger Goodell, Commish, he has no problem sitting you down for a game or two to get your attention because he just don't want your attention. He wants your undivided attention.
Yep.
And so this is why I believe that Ezekiel Elliott is going to miss some time because the pattern of behavior that the commissioner will deem unbecoming an NFL player.
So my first question back to you, Mr. Sharpe, is who says my Cowboys can't play defense? That was some pretty good defense they played yesterday, right? Jerry Jones, perennial all-pro defender of Dallas Cowboys in trouble, right?
Yep.
And I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden, mouths closed and people disappeared, and even the alleged victim could not be found. Interesting. Same thing happened at midseason, as I told you, sitting in this chair at midseason on one fateful night at another bar in Dallas, Texas, and somehow that got swept completely under the rug because it never even
made
the newspaper. So, what we have here is a whole lot of smoke. Day after day, smoke. It's just smoking everywhere that Ezekiel goes. Yeah. But there's no fire. Because as you correctly point out, believe it or not, after all these incidents, Ezekiel Elliott has yet to even be charged with one of them. Not one charge, let alone a conviction. I'm talking about he hasn't even been charged. And traditionally, going back to the Tagliabue regime, and even early on in the Goodell regime, the NFL has waited to react to the judicial system.
That's correct.
We will respond as they respond. We will respond in kind with our punishment.
Correct.
And so there's nothing yet to really respond to except one thing after another, after another, after another, after another. And my emotions today are extremely mixed. As you know, lifelong Cowboy fan. I can't help myself. I'm just lost in it. And I'm lost in the fact that a suspension of Ezekiel Elliott could save Shannon Sharpe from the worst prediction in the history of Undisputed, which is that the Cowboys now favored to get to the Super Bowl, to win the entire NFC, not just the NFC East. Shannon Sharpe says we'll miss the playoffs. So my emotions are just torn apart today because I can't wait to see the look on your face when they
miss the playoffs,
win the division, and then win the NFC. But obviously, it would help me greatly if I have the breakout star in the NFL last year. Who was it? The breakout star. It wasn't Dak because Dak's not exciting enough. It was this kid, right? Was he not the breakout star? It was this, right? Was that not it?
Yeah.
Dak didn't have any edge to him. He didn't have anything to him. He didn't do this.
Jumping in the Salvation Army kettle.
Jumped in the kettle, right? It's Ezekiel Elliott. And here's the dilemma for everyone involved right now, and I hope people can stand back from this and see the magnitude, how much money is on the table right now, because who's the biggest draw in the National Football League by far?
Cowboys.
It's the Dallas Cowboys. Last year, who played in 4 of the 5 highest-rated games on television in the season last year?
Cowboys.
The Cowboys. Who played in a divisional playoff game that was simply the most watched divisional playoff game in the history of the National Football League? The Cowboys against Aaron Rodgers at Jerry World, right? They're it. Who is the most valuable franchise, not just in America, in the world, We just heard this the other day. In the world, $4.2 billion, the Dallas Cowboys. So, hence, are they not the most powerful organization in the world? You could argue in sports, obviously. Yes, they are. So now they have a breakout star. They are favored to get to the Super Bowl. And yet, I heard on Monday that NFL officials were outraged that an Ezekiel Elliott they had put on notice as of last week, and then reported by ESPN, that he was bracing for a suspension and preparing to fight said suspension, that he would have the audacity, be brazen enough, be so far from contrite enough that he would go out on Sunday night and get involved in some other incident that now gets swept right under the carpet.
But Skip, go out a week before he's supposed to report to training camp.
You got it. You got it. It's the pattern of behavior dating back to Ohio State. He was involved in a car accident at Ohio State, and he's already been involved in 2 in Dallas. 2. The speeding ticket, the yacht that he rented that was boarded by the Coast Guard, but nothing happened. No citations were written. Nothing happened.
Skip, he's in 2 accidents. He was in one last year before they played Green Bay. He was in one this year.
Okay, I got it.
Arriving to OTAs.
Okay, and then I don't know how this even got out, but he admitted that he visited the marijuana dispensary in Seattle ahead of the preseason game back in August, right?
He was curious.
Yeah, and so now we have accusations of domestic abuse in Columbus and Fort Lauderdale. Just accusations. Both police departments investigated and decided not to charge. And yet, testimony did come out that was printed. You can look it up on the internet that some texts were made public in the testimony in which Ezekiel admitted that he was preparing to try to pass a drug test on the following day. And he said, I'm going to spend the next 24 hours in the sauna to pass that drug test. And I will pass it. That was the thrust of the text. But that there was some question about whether he would be able to pass. You can look it up. I'm not breaking any news.
Right.
So all that smoke, but no fire as yet. So again, I was told on Monday that the NFL was so angry over Sunday night that they were really going to come down hard. But I think they thought that there was going to be a charge filed against Ezekiel by the alleged victim. The alleged victim just went up in smoke, so to speak. He's gone. I don't know. They can't find him.
But here's the thing. The NFL says we've seen something like this before in the Greg Hardy situation, where she called 911. She explained the situation. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
When it came time for her to show up to court, nobody could find the female. Now, it was reported that he had a settlement out of court. Skip, okay, hold on.
Now you're going to an extreme.
Right. No, but I'm just saying.
Compared to this, but yes. I got
This gentleman is looking at, hold on, I can get some money and I can be a hero by because if he presses charges, you automatically know what the NFL is going to do. But he says I can possibly get some money, not say anything. Everybody in Dallas will love me. Jerry might slide me a couple of tickets for the whole season, and I got some money in my pocket. Now, TMZ, what they can break some stories. I don't know how they do it, Skip.
I respect them.
Because think about this, Skip. When nobody else could get that video of Ray Rice in the elevator, who put it out?
Yeah.
When everybody said Venus was at fault because she ran the red light, who put that video out? Now, TMZ had the video, and there are people that said there was Zeke involved. Now everybody's sober with clear mind and clear thoughts. Who am I? Where am I? I'm in Dallas. I live in Dallas. Don't nobody know anything. But the NFL is saying, you know what? In order for it to be smoke, there had to be some fire somewhere. So maybe the fire is put out, but the smoke is still smoldering. You can't have all these in a year's time. Think about this, Skip. In basically 15, 16 months, think about all the incidents that Ezekiel Elliott name has come up in. Skip, ain't nobody's that unlucky. I don't care if you got 15 black cats, you broke 7 mirrors, you can't be that unlucky. And Commissioner Goodell, he's like, maybe if he showed, you know what, these incidences, this, and he hadn't involved in anything else. Because guess what, Skip? When the NFL wants to find out something, I bet you they know about that incident that happened.
I agree.
That didn't make the news.
And they may know about other incidents that we don't know about. So my conclusion is, does Ezekiel Elliott have big issues?
Yes.
Yes, he does. Have his issues often put him in the wrong place at the wrong time? You better believe it.
Yep.
But has he been charged one time with anything? No, he has not. So I was hearing on Monday, and I said so on Tuesday, sitting in this very chair, that the NFL was hoping to go 6 to even outside 10 games. You know, that'd be the outside. That's as far as they could go.
Right.
But 6 games. So I was sort of settling in on trying to get myself prepared for psychologically, emotionally. He could be gone for 6 games. Then we talked about how could the Cowboys survive over the first 6 games. Well, now, because I just took it as a fact that he was going to get charged in the one Sunday night. Well, now we have a mitigating circumstance. We have no charge. So now I'm thinking 2 games, 3 games? I don't know. And I don't know how they're even going to sell 2 or 3 games at this point because you can't detail what he's done. You can't say, as the court found, there's no as the court found, right?
Yeah.
So if they suspend Zeke, let's just do this. Let's say for 4, let's go 4.
Okay.
For 4 games, for conduct unbecoming?
Yep.
Is that it?
Yep.
I mean, does Goodell have enough authority, enough dictatorial authority where it's...
Ask Tom Brady.
Okay, all right. So, but at least he had to come with a Wells report to say, this is our evidence against.
Mm-hmm. Ask Ray Rice.
It's bogus to me. But you
Ask
did
Ray
have
Hardy.
you had a video there, and you had a conviction the first time around. You had a... What did they say in North Carolina? Bench conviction?
Yes.
Yes, by the judge,
You
right?
had a bench trial,
Yeah.
which means the judge
Yes.
heard it. But once he
Yeah.
can appeal it.
Yeah.
So once it's appealed.
when it went to appeal, that's when she did not come forward.
Right.
Okay. But in this case, you have none of the above. So how are you going to back up your suspension? How are you going to detail what he did wrong? I think it's going to be pretty hard because you don't even have a charge to fall back on.
Commissioner Goodell, if you notice, he always points back to the CBA in that article in which the players have given me great latitude.
They have.
And power beyond power.
Okay. Do you want to cut off said nose to spite face? Because this is your biggest draw in your sport.
And they'll still
These
be a
are
draw.
the cash cows, as in cash cowboys.
Yeah, you got to understand. They've been sorry for a while, and they still, because they're the Cowboys. That doesn't matter. It's like the Lakers. The Lakers still draw even though they've missed the playoff in the last 4 years because they're the Lakers. The Cowboys are still the Cowboys, whether Zeke plays or not.
Yeah, but Jerry Jones is still the owner, and he's
And what did Jerry?
he's
Jerry
at the
is
top of the NFL.
But what did Jerry? Jerry seems resigned to the fact.
He was 2 days ago. He was resigned. He was. He was like, well, we prepare to lose players for injuries, so ... Like, okay, if we lose him now, we were prepared.
Remember last year when they talked about they were going to possibly suspend
He was
Zeke?
adamant about. There is no, his quote was, "There is nothing there."
No mercy. ESPN is reporting the Lakers have been trying to make their team a potential destination for LeBron since Magic Johnson and GM Rob Pelinka took over in February. LeBron can become a free agent next summer. The Lakers signed Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who has the same agent as LeBron, and they were reportedly also interested in signing Dwayne Wade if he was bought out by the Bulls. We're joined by Chris Broussard. Welcome, Chris.
Hey, Joy.
How likely is it that LeBron will go to?
First of all, it makes sense what the Lakers are doing, right?
Yeah.
Try to make room for LeBron. I'm told that LeBron does not know what he's going to do next year, that he's just focused on this year, trying to win the championship.
Laser
and then,
focus.
You know, he'll see how things go and then determine from there. I'm also told... that there are some people in the organization who feel like there's no way he's leaving, that this is all just talk and buzz. Because as we know, as he's the king of Akron, he's also the king of drama. And LeBron is not going to kill this noise. Even if he has no intention of going there, that's just not his MO. Remember his last year in Cleveland before he left? He let everybody in the league think they might get him. You know, he never killed it. So this is going to be out there. All right, I have said if he leaves, I hope he stays in Cleveland. But if he leaves, he should go to San Antonio.
You have said that.
I will say this, though. I'm warming to the idea of him going to the Lakers if he leaves. Because if Lonzo, let's say Lonzo goes out and averages 14 points and 9 or 10 assists this year, which I think is possible. I know you do too.
I said it yesterday. I said exactly 14 and 10.
Okay. Brandon Ingram bumps up to 17 or 18 points a game, and
Highly
they both
possible.
look like they're
Highly
special.
possible,
Okay.
yes.
A starting lineup of those two, Paul George, LeBron James, and let's say Brook Lopez.
Okay.
That is something you could work. I could picture them guarding Golden State. You could switch everything pretty much, and I mean, that would be something to work with. I will say this, though. If he were to go there, he's got to play differently. Lonzo Ball would have to be the point guard. He's not Kyrie Irving. He's not going to average 20 points off the ball. I would not want to see LeBron bringing it up 60% of the time, 50% of the time. I would want LeBron to be a true forward, power forward, small forward, whatever. Give me 26 points and like 10 rebounds, 9 rebounds.
Okay.
And let Lonzo be the point guard.
Well, remember, if he does go there, LeBron, he would be entering his 16th NBA season, so it'd be time to take it down a notch.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean he wouldn't be the best player, but he does not. LeBron is a system unto himself. Yeah. Everywhere he's been, Cleveland, Miami, Cleveland. He is. But LeBron James, the system, can beat just about everybody in the league. Can't beat Golden State. I don't care where he goes. I don't care who his teammates are. That's not going to beat Golden State. So it has to be more of a team-oriented. And he can still get you 26, 27, and 10. And that's what I would want to see.
You're just upset that in year 16, LeBron is still going to be giving you mid-20s.
I'm not upset.
And,
He's going to be a Spur.
And Michael Jordan barely cracked 20. For me, I think the possibility it's possible, but I think it's more a reflection of the dysfunction that's going on currently where he is, because it's being reported, Chris, that they had a chance to get Jimmy Butler and then they fired David Griffin. What sense does that make? And LeBron is probably thinking, you mean to tell me you couldn't wait another week? You couldn't wait 2 more weeks to make this decision. Let us get Jimmy Butler, and then if you want to part ways with David Griffin, okay, fine and good. I don't agree with it because he let it be known. I appreciate you, Griff, if nobody else does. You know who he was talking about, Skip.
After he said a couple of months ago, we're top heavy as you know what.
Yeah.
Whose fault was that?
And Griff got him, tried to get him, got him Kyrie, got him Darren Williams. Okay, Skip, look.
Kyrie.
Not
I mean,
Kyrie,
Kyle
Korver and Darren
You wish
Williams.
Kyle Korver was Kyrie, right? If you had 2 Kyries, then LeBron would have some help.
But I agree with you, because there's no way Lonzo Ball can't play off the ball.
No.
In order for him to be who he is, and Skip, I think he's going to be a very good player, he needs the ball. He can't play like Kyrie. He cannot go. He's not a guy that can go get his own shot. Because, see, Kyrie can break you down. No. Nobody has handles like he has, and he can finish with either hand at the rim. So he's going to have to change his style. But also, he's going to have to get another superstar.
Well, yeah, Paul George.
Yeah, and he's not going anywhere he doesn't have another superstar, because he ain't beating him with. I don't care if Lonzo averages 15 assists. They're not beating the Fantastic Four if LeBron doesn't have at least another superstar.
They're superheroes now. They're like they're not
all-
even human anymore. They're like right.
The Wonder Twins almost took him down too.
And Luke knows Golden State as well as anybody. So that would be a little advantage as well.
And by the way, just in this hypothetical scenario, LeBron and Paul George, let's say, to the Lakers, to your starting lineup. The thing about Lonzo that I love the most is he could, in that scenario, that dream sequence, if you will, he would be happy taking 2 shots a game. I'm serious, he would. He could take 2 shots a game, and as long as they were winning, you wouldn't hear a peep out of him. LeBron would never be happy taking 2 shots a game, even though
But he's a different style player.
A very different player, but I've told you to this point, LeBron was still, even last year, to me, the best passer in basketball, and he's about to get eclipsed by this kid, because this kid is really special, delivering the ball, as Magic said, scoring passes to where it's in your wheelhouse, where he's setting you up to do what you are best at. And with that scenario, if you gave him LeBron and Paul George, along with Brandon Ingram, who's going to be, he's a gifted kid, man, and he's going to become a man pretty quickly. And Brook Lopez I like him. I know he got lost in New Jersey, but he can score.
As a 5th starter, he'd be
that's what
great.
I'm saying. Is he better than Pacheep Shot? Yeah, he's better than Pacheep Shot. He is.
A question with that foursome, that's a lot. I mean, LeBron, Paul George, would they be happy just being a part of a system? Would Ingram, as he's ascending,
he will
be happy, probably taking
You're
it back?
in your third year. You don't get. You about to be. You'll be going into your fourth. You ain't gonna get nothing. No. Be quiet, Brandon Ingram. Be happy that Bron and Paul George is coming. You get no say-so in the matter.
So do you really think LeBron James would be happy in the Western Conference playoffs? Because I'm not sure he wants to bite off and chew that.
He want to bite off.
Something to think
he
about.
want to put foots in him.
Yeah.
I just think, is he, what's better? And I'm honestly throwing this out there. To get to the finals say they get to the finals the next 3 years in Cleveland with LeBron, but they lose.
No.
Or to go to the West and get to the conference finals and lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what? I mean, I think in today's climate, people would look at it as he's 3-8 in the finals, rather than he got there 11 times. Rather than looking at the achievement.
Are you talking about people or me?
You. and your followers, your disciples.
3-7, 3-8.
Lem.
Wow.
I mean, but that you got it. You would harp on the 8.
You would say he's been to 11
Yes,
straight
but
finals,
that's legit.
right?
Lem.
And it's so easy. It's the greatest, easiest cakewalk in the history of the Eastern Conference. Next year's Eastern.
Well,
they're
Boston
going to
got better.
Hey,
Boston got. Everybody else didn't, but Boston got better.
Gordon Hayward, like I
They
tweeted,
got better. I'm not saying they can beat Cleveland.
I tweeted that day, Celtics signed Gordon Hayward, period. LeBron yawns.
Yeah,
Because that's what he did. He yawned.
He booked the flight to Cibo Nate, him and the kids in Savannah Day and Cibo Nate right now.
Well, seriously, are they not going to be 12-0 in next year's? Maybe they'll blow one game to Boston like they did. You know, maybe somebody will have a hot hand. But there'll be a lucky 3 at the end of the game.
So what would you say? What do you think would be better for? You would rip him more for being 3-8 in the finals than going to the West and maybe never getting there again.
I would agree with that. But I also think he's shrewd enough that he knows the path is so easy. This is what I would respect him the most for. If you keep telling me he's the best player on the planet, I thought they had a shot against Golden State last year. And I'm going to say it again. Game 3 is in LeBron's hands. You're up 4 points with 1:30 left in your house in Game 3, and you can make it 2-1, and all of a sudden the momentum wildly switches. If he's the best player on the planet, if he's Michael Jordan, if he's on Mount Rushmore, you close that deal and let's see what happens.
And the ball was in Kevin Love's hand, too, when he lost it out of bounds. They could have put him up 10.
Okay.
And if they win Game 3, both teams go into Game 4 with a different mindset. I think Golden State still wins the series. They were just better.
Okay, are you telling me Kevin Durant's just better than LeBron James?
No, I'm telling you that team is just better.
You see what he tried to do, Chris? You see what he tried to do?
Who looked like the best player on the floor?
I will say
like
this.
Kevin
Look,
Durant.
Cleveland's got a great team. I'm with you in that he's the best player and 2 perennial All-Stars.
I just want to interrupt you real quick while we're talking about Cleveland having a great team. Windhorst and Woj have just tweeted that it's the reporting that Derrick Rose is in serious talks to join the Cavs.
Oh, no!
On a one-year deal.
He needed some help. He got some help.
I don't want it.
Huh? You don't want it?
That rose ain't blossomed in a long time.
That's true.
It's interesting.
Rose can't grow through concrete.
It's interesting.
No, wait, he's a pick-and-roll player.
I mean, if they're looking for a really nice suit model
It's a
to
backup.
sit on the bench, then
I mean,
Well,
you're
he would
looking
be
at-
a backup.
You're looking at Darren
somebody
Williams.
to come in with the second-
Serious,
yeah,
like
he would-
he's like the Darren Williams.
Is he a
role.
little better
15
than Darren? He's not a shooter.
No.
He can create a little more than Darren Williams could at this point. I mean, it's not changing anything. They still win the East. They don't.
Yeah, we're going to win the East. I mean, we're going to win the East.
Shannon,
They're gonna win the
you
East.
can't even get the stank off your face.
We need to trade for Boogie Cousins.
Do you?
Yeah.
You would like that.
I would. I would love that. Bron to get Boogie
Derrick
right.
Rose, get on board, Shannon. No mercy. Yesterday, ESPN released their rankings of the greatest quarterbacks since 1978. Aaron Rodgers finished in 5th place, while his former teammate Brett Favre finished 1 spot below in a tie for 6th. Favre was a 3-time MVP, while Rodgers has won 2 MVPs so far. They each won 1 Super Bowl with the Packers. We're joined by Rob Parker. Rob, do you agree with Rodgers being ranked ahead of
Be
Favre?
honest.
Absolutely. Are you kidding, Skip? Aaron Rodgers is way better than Brett Favre.
Gotta write that down.
Forget about the 3
Way better.
MVPs. And if it wasn't for Desmond Howard, Brett Favre wouldn't even have a Super Bowl victory. Remember that. Desmond Howard.
Oh, so Brett didn't do anything that game.
Yeah, no.
He didn't throw it early to Andre Rison for the big game-breaking early touchdown. He didn't do that.
but it was Desmond. Who was the MVP of that Super Bowl? He had 2 touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
In that Super Bowl. And the other thing, too, let's just face it. Brett Favre is one of the most overrated guys as well from this standpoint. He is the interception king of the NFL. And how many, Shannon Sharpe, playoff games ended with Brett Favre throwing across his body, across the field for a pick to end the playoff game?
Minnesota Vikings against the Saints.
Thank you. It's happened so many times.
Last playoff game, Skip.
What did he do? A bad pick. That was
How
what he
old
was
was he
famous
then?
for. I don't care how old he was.
40 years of age.
It was
He
a
had the greatest
bad play.
40-year-old season ever. Was it 33-7? 33 touchdowns?
And can I give you like 3 stats for Aaron Rodgers? While Brett Favre's the interception king, Aaron Rodgers, of course, has the best touchdown to interception ratio in the history of the NFL.
Yep.
They have the best passer rating in the history of the NFL. And he has a single season record for the best passer rating of 122.5. Nobody in the league has a higher passer rating in a single season than Aaron Rodgers. It's not even close. Brett Favre should be 10 spots lower than Aaron Rodgers, not 1.
Am I being punked right now? What? Oh, we on camera, so we don't like. Skip, stop it. Tell him, this is
Wait,
not
I
even.
haven't even spoken yet. Well, I haven't started
I
yet.
already know what
How
you're
can I
thinking.
stop what I haven't started?
I know you.
We already know.
Tell it is not even close. They shouldn't even be mentioned.
That shouldn't even be mentioned.
See,
That
what
is
we-
so
what-
insulting. That
what
is
we're-
so wrong, and you know it.
What we're starting to do.
You had to face this guy in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, let me tell you what Greg Robinson said. Guys, he's going to make plays, but he's going to give us our opportunity
There
to
you
make
go.
ours. So just make sure, did he disappoint us? No. Skip. We are starting to confuse longevity with greatness. Because somebody plays 20 years, Skip, stop it. You need to stop playing. This guy had 1 season in 20. Now, okay, 19 because he didn't play his rookie year. So 1 year in 19 years in which he threw fewer than 13 interceptions. Aaron Rodgers has 1 season in which he's thrown 13 interceptions. Skip, highest touchdown to interception ratio ever. It's never, ever, ever, ever going to be broken. This man was going to end up with probably 450, maybe 500, and fewer than 150 picks. Brett Favre's at almost 350. You need to stop playing.
And he got Ray Rose
I need to start
fired.
playing. Do I
And he
get to
got
start,
Ray Rose
Joy?
fired in
Or is it? Are we
Green Bay.
just
I'll
going
let you-
to?
just
Are we
let
just
you-
going to go to commercial now? It's
No,
over?
no.
I think,
It's
Shannon,
not even
he
close.
stole your notes when you were.
It's not even
Right.
close.
Anybody who really knows football
No.
Shannon, you don't know football?
I guess
I
not.
thought you were in the Hall of Fame.
I guess not.
knows that Brett Favre was a little better than Aaron Rodgers has been so far. I'm open to. Aaron's got, I don't know, can he play 5, 6 more years? I don't know. He can't play Tom Brady years because
Oh, well,
he
we
doesn't
ain't talking
care,
about,
doesn't
stop
care
bringing up
enough
Tom
about
Brady.
football.
It's Brett Favre and Aaron.
Yeah. So let's look at this now. So Brett Favre did go to 2 Super Bowls, and he won 1 of them. But Aaron's only been to 1 Super Bowl in 9 years. Wait, he's the greatest thrower of the football in history, according to that guy and
He
that
is.
guy.
Skip,
How come you leave out the
Wait,
onside
it's my turn to
kick,
talk.
the
It's my
onside
turn to
kick?
talk. Oh, let me go right to the onside kick because I'm going to unmake my case by saying the onside kick. Now let's go to
He would have
commercial.
gone to
That's
the
what I'm
Super
going to
Bowl
say.
that year.
Yeah,
He
I'm
would have
gonna
gone
go
to the
commercial.
Super Bowl that year if they caught it.
So Brett Favre in the postseason was 13-11. Not great, but not bad. And yet Aaron Rodgers is only 9-7, which is not great. But wait a second. Since that one miracle Super Bowl run that he made as a wild card on the road playoff team, since then he's 5-6 in the postseason. And in those 6 losses, not one time in those 6 losses has he thrown for 300 or more yards. Not one time. He's the greatest thrower of the football ever. But you know what? I'm seeing a mirage here because if he's as good as you guys say, there's no way he would have lost 6 games since his Super Bowl.
And his defense
Nobody
has
does
given
that.
up like
Oh, it's
40
his
points
defense.
in those games as well.
So let's talk about receivers that you're throwing to. Sometimes you say, well, blah, 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 Aaron doesn't have enough receivers. USA Today just recently ranked the position groups in the NFL. And in receiving core rankings, guess what? Aaron Rodgers' receiving core was ranked second only to the New York Football Giants. So the second best receiving core in the NFL today, according to USA Today, is Aaron Rodgers. Yet Brett Favre got 2 teams to Super Bowls with no Pro Bowl wide receiver. Not one in either time. Like you said, Desmond Howard, he's just like off the scrap heap, you know? But he's thrown to Andre Rison, who's off the scrap heap from the Falcons. Really? That's all you got?
Skip, what does receivers have to do with throwing to the other team? That's
okay.
what I'm.
All right. Well,
here's what
I
don't care about the receivers.
Fixate and focus on interceptions
yes.
thrown. But let's look at
Probably should.
over Brett Favre's 19-year span in the National Football League. He was second among all the quarterbacks who played in those 19 years in fourth quarter comebacks and second in game-winning drives. I got to tell you, that's pretty great over a 19-year span.
Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to come back.
Time out. In Aaron Rodgers' 9-year span as a starter, just as a starter, he's 24th in fourth quarter comebacks and only 17th in game-winning drives of all the active quarterbacks. That's not the greatest thrower of the football ever, because when the money's on the line, I think I want Brett Favre throwing my football, because he took a Minnesota team that most of the prognosticators said would finish last that year in the division because they had a 40-year-old quarterback. He lifted that team all the way to the NFC Championship game, and guess what it took?
What did he do?
It took the Bounty Bowl to stop him, because clearly they got busted for bounties on Brett Favre, and I don't think I have ever seen a quarterback take more punishment than Brett Favre absorbed and continued to fight through that day in New Orleans in that Superdome. They said he couldn't even get up off the training table after the game because bounties were on him.
He was old. He's 40 years old.
What Skip will never mention is that when he was with the New York Jets, he hurt that team by being selfish.
The streak was more important to
right?
him.
The streak was more important. They were 8-3 or 4. He was injured. He kept playing.
He tore his biceps
But he's still playing, and they wound up not making the playoffs that year because he was so worried about a streak. He's also the only guy, when he was with the Jets, had his own, he dressed in a separate room from his teammates. He dressed in a separate locker room.
The biggest diva,
what kind of guy is that?
The biggest diva among quarterbacks today, by far, is Aaron bleepin' Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers is the most thin-skinned, blame-deflecting, finger-pointing quarterback I have ever watched, from game in and game out. You know it, and I know it. He is the diva of today's quarterbacks, and I don't think his teammates love him. Greg Jennings has sat right there, former teammate of his and receiver of his, and said that a lot of the guys don't love Aaron.
That's okay, but I bet you most guys would love 40 touchdowns and 7 picks, and he won every game they needed to win to make the playoffs.
Money on the line, 5-6 since the Super Bowl. Wow.
The Saints. Brett Favre, game-ending interception, Saints kick field goal in overtime. The Eagles, remember he threw that ball up down the middle of the field?
Yes.
By the way, can I just make a point about the game-ending one in New Orleans in overtime? What happened on the play before that? They have a timeout called, and Brad Childress sends in 12 men. Remember this? He gets a 12 men in the huddle penalty, which moves them back 5 yards and forces them, instead of to call a run play just to set up the field goal, Favre has to throw it to try to get them back.
But it doesn't mean he has to throw an interception.
He did. But do you know how many games he won with late throws? I just gave it to you.
What about
second in game-winning drives over a 19-year period?
Aaron Rodgers is never behind, so he doesn't have to do the come from behind.
But you didn't mention the Rams game where he threw 5 picks and they lost by like 100 points.
Okay, he did. He would try things a lot of people shouldn't try.
Okay.
Well, you know what? Brett Favre could get away with it. And if you want to talk about eye test, this may even be before your time, but those first 5 years of Brett Favre, nobody could throw a football any better than Brett Favre could throw it, because nobody in the league had a stronger arm. You can give me Elway, you can give me Marino. Nobody could throw it the way Brett Favre threw it. And by the way, if you want to talk about athletic ability, I'll put young Favre's athletic ability against Aaron Rodgers any Sunday. Any Sunday.
Rob, did he just say it might be before my time? Does he know I'm a year older than Brett? And Brett came into the league.
He don't remember that?
You act like you don't remember the young Favre. You talk about him like he's a dog.
No.
You do.
No. He played with my. I put it like this here. My brother is a better receiver than anybody Aaron Rodgers has ever thrown to.
Unfortunately, your brother didn't last all that long.
No.
That was a tragedy.
He was the first receiver with back-to-back 100. He was the first receiver to have 300 catches over a 3-year span.
I covered the game Brett threw the touchdown in Detroit. But the game winner in Detroit, I was there.
there's it.
I saw that.
But
one.
he's not
Game-winning
Skip.
drive.
But it was against the Lions.
They're everywhere.
So it shouldn't
Skip.
count.
Anytime it's against the Lions, it doesn't count.
Skip. It's okay. Brett was a great player, but he's not greater than 12.
Yeah, you're just doing the eye test. He can really
That's what you
throw
told
it.
me you do.
Really throw it.
But you
That's
told
not
me
the point. Who's the better Who do I want with the game on the line? This
Give
is
me
just
Aaron
me.
Rodgers.
I'll take Brett
Did you
Favre
watch
every
what he
time.
did to your Cowboys
Yeah,
with the game
I watched
on the
what
line?
Mason Crossbar did to him.
No, who put him in? Who got him in range?
Huh?
No, but when Tom Brady puts Adam
know who got him in
Vinatieri
range?
he's okay with
No,
it.
you
But
know
now
who
that
got him
Aaron
in
Rodgers
range?
did it, now you got an issue, Skip. Come clean. You can't have it both ways.
Rod Marinelli put him in position.
stop.
He did. He called a prevent defense on 3rd and 22. Just play defense. Don't let Jared Cook just run uncontested the boundary. It's pitch and catch.
They brought
It's pitch
Skip.
and catch. He's
Skip.
not covered.
Skip. If you remember, Skip, they brought a blitz, but it just so happened that the Packers had a dash on that he drops back, he whirls and
They
goes
didn't
to his
blitz.
left.
They didn't
Skip,
blitz
they brought the guy
Not
off
on
the
the last
edge.
play. You're thinking the play before when he should have fumbled.
Skip.
I give him that. He should have
I
fumbled.
tell you, I
on the
bet you,
play.
I
He
bet
got
you,
hit
I bet you
blind.
do. I bet you do. I bet you do that they brought a blitz off the right side.
On the
Last
last
play,
play?
yes.
I just remember Jeff Heath blitzing.
I
all
don't
the
care
time.
what you remember.
I looked at the tape that they had like 8 guys back at the 20-yard line.
Skip, would I lie to you, Skip?
Yes.
Did they
At
rush
least we
more
can
than 4?
all agree
They
that
brought- no,
Tom
they
Brady
dropped
ranked number
one, but
one
they
is
dropped
right,
one.
right?
They
Okay, so
brought-
it's still a
agree with
4-man
that.
rush.
Right.
Whatever.
We don't agree with the Tom Brady being number one either, do we? Joy thinks so.
What? I mean, that's a duh. That's the biggest duh on this show.
No mercy.
Yesterday, ESPN released their rankings of the greatest quarterbacks since 1978. Tom Brady was ranked first, followed by Peyton Manning, and Joe Montana was third. The voting panel included current and former NFL coaches, such as Tony Dungy, Mike Holmgren, Mike Shanahan, and Pete Carroll. Shannon, do you agree with Peyton at number 2?
I do. And I would have had no problem if they put him at number 1 because I think what this panel did is that they looked at other things other than Super Bowls. Now what we've seen over the last 5 to 10 years, 10 years, is that when a player wins the Super Bowl, all of a sudden he's elite. Oh my God, he's one of the all-time greats. Winning a Super Bowl does not make you all-time great.
It doesn't?
No.
That's not what you told me just recently on the show.
What'd I tell you?
You said Tom Brady's the greatest ever by far.
Skip.
You said it before the Super Bowl, and then you really said it after.
Skip, he's won 5 Super Bowls. He's been to 7. But when you look at his body of work, he's a 2-time league MVP. He's been the first team All-Pro. He's led the league in passing. He's led the league in touchdowns. Body of work.
Okay.
You're not going to say Joe Flacco's an all-time great. You're not going to say Trent Dilfer or Brad Johnson are all-time greats. Because even though they have Super Bowls, when you look at their body of work, when I look at Peyton Manning's body of work, he has 5 MVPs. 5. Brady, Montana, and Elway have that same amount. He has 7 first-team All-Pros. The other top 5 selections in this survey have 7. You look at the yardage, you look at the touchdowns. Skip, I mean, what are we talking about here? And he was the guy, most quarterbacks, give me the play and let me run it. Peyton Manning says, give me options, and I'm going to put us in the best situation. And he was always known to go from a bad play to a good play to a great play. He was really the first. Now we see a lot more of that calling plays at the line of scrimmage, but no one's done it like Peyton. You look at the 14 Pro Bowls, and I know Pro Bowls sometimes it's a popularity contest, but there were it used to be 42, then it went to 44, now 48, now 50. Men and women, a lot of them that's never played the game of football, that cover the game of football, said 7 times in Peyton Manning's 18 years, he's the best quarterback in the NFL. And then when you look at MVP, he has 5 of those, Skips. MVP is based on accumulation. They look at your total body of work during the season, and they said, you were the best player from start to finish in the NFL. So with his body of work, you make it seem like he's never been to a Super Bowl. He's been to 4, he's won 2. With that resume, with his body of work, I have no problem whatsoever with Peyton Manning being number 2 on this list.
And I find it laughably insulting that anyone could think that Peyton Manning is better than Joe Montana or even John Elway, and that you would even dare to maybe make the case that you wouldn't have minded if Peyton were number one over Brady. And you're saying he revolutionized the game by the first to ever change the play regularly before it was run.
A lot of times there wasn't no play call. He just went to the line and said, check with me. I'll give you the play.
Tom Brady goes in one better because I don't think Tom checks off as much as Tom just reads it on the fly. He just says, snap it to me, and we got option routes everywhere. I'll just pick the right guy every time, and I will deliver him a catchable pass right on the button. That's better than Peyton to me.
But let me ask you this. How many offensive coordinators has Tom Brady had that's gone on to become head coaches? How many offensive coordinators has Peyton Manning have gone on to become head coaches?
What does it matter? That doesn't make them good or bad.
Because it's telling you Peyton Manning is the guy that's calling the plays, not the offensive coordinator. Josh McDaniel got a head job. Bill O'Brien got a head job. Charlie Weiss got 2 head jobs.
And among them, they've won how many championships on college or pro level?
But they
None. They were all overrated because they were coaching Tom Brady. They were.
But Skip, think about this. Look at Brett Favre. How many guys coach Brett Favre got head jobs?
A lot of them. That's a pretty good tree there.
Yeah. But
there's some success in that tree.
Offensive coordinators that's coached Peyton Manning, how many of them have got a head job?
Okay, here's my bottom line. My money, as always, goes into the playoff bank. That's all I really care about. And in Peyton's first 9 playoff games, he went 3-6. Okay. And in that stretch, the Colts, as a 1 or 2 seed, because remember they kept going 14-2 and 13, right? As a 1 or a 2 seed in that stretch, they went 2-4. That's as a 1 or a 2 seed with Peyton Manning at quarterback. That's not very good. So I read all this in ESPN.com about how some of the coaches were saying, yeah, Peyton never really had a defense he could bank on. And I'm thinking, wait a second. So in 2005, as a 14-2 number 1 seed, they had the NFL's number 2 scoring defense. That's pretty good to me. I'm not saying it was all-time great, but it was number 2 in the league in points allowed that year, and they lost a home playoff game to your Pittsburgh Steelers, a little before your time probably, but it was 21-18. So Peyton managed to score 18 points at home. In 2007, as a 13-3 number 2 seed in the AFC, which is pretty good, they had the number 1 in the NFL scoring defense. That'll work, won't it? I'm not saying it was the 85 Bears or the Steel Curtain Steelers, but it was the best one that the NFL had to offer that year on points allowed. And they lost a division round home playoff game to San Diego. Remember the Phillip Rivers game when he toughed it out with a torn ACL? And they lost 28-24. So don't tell me he never had a great defense. And then they went on that Super Bowl roll. Remember that? They got going, and Dominic Rhodes was their feature back, and he had some big yards, and they went to Ray Lewis's to
kick 5 field goals.
Yeah, they kicked 5 field goals, and they won, 15-6. And Dominic Rhodes made all the big money yards late in the game. I'm not taking anything away from Peyton because he did play a really great AFC title game against Brady in a shootout, and he won it 38-34. And then he got to beat Rex Grossman in the Super Bowl. It's okay, but I'm not really impressed. And then from that Super Bowl on, over his next 11 playoff games, the great Peyton Manning went 4-7. It's not very good. And he threw the interception that changed the Super Bowl against New Orleans, the Tracy Porter 74-yarder the other way, the pick 6. And then remember the Hale Flacco game against your Broncos in Denver. Peyton threw 2 big interceptions in that game, including 1 in overtime. And then he loses his job in the end to Brock Osweiler, but as a relief pitcher gets thrown back in. And I thought he made some of his best clutch throws in the game against your Steelers again, and then against Tom Brady in Denver, obviously.
Championship game.
But you want to talk about benefiting from a defense? That was the best defense in the NFL.
Well, Skip, the way I look at defense or offense, or I look at any great unit, can you do what you need to do when you absolutely must do it? And yeah, they had the number 1 scoring defense, and they might have had the number 2 and number 5 scoring defense, but when they need a stop, could they get it? The reason why we ranked the 85 Bears, when it came playoff time and they needed to get stops, they got people off the field.
Well, I mean, they just suffocated
Right.
people.
You look at the 2000 Ravens, the 02 Bucks, or you look at the 14, what was it, 13? You look at the 13 Seahawks, or you look at the Broncos, or 15. You're like, okay, these are great defenses because when they needed to get Brady or they needed to get a quarterback on the ground, they could go do it. Peyton had some good defenses. I'm not going to say didn't have. I mean, I don't think. Well, sometimes they were pretty close to the bottom in total yardage given up. But Skip, you got to be able to get off the field. Skip, this body of work, and I'm telling you. You say you value my opinion. I've been around a lot of these guys. I know Ray Bob very well. Obviously played with Mike. Yeah, Ray Rose.
Oh, Ray Rose. I thought you meant Bob Ray Sanders.
No, we call it Ray Bob.
Okay.
Mike Shanahan, obviously, and a lot of these guys I coached against. And so I'm just trying to give you insight to how they think. Peyton made you cover every inch of the field, and you knew he left no stone unturned. And because Josh McDaniels called the plays, Charlie Weiss called the plays, Peyton Manning is going to the line of scrimmage and says, okay, y'all in single high safety, y'all playing cover 5, y'all playing 6 kicks, y'all clouding it. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. Okay. That's why they give him so much credit, Skip, because they realize just how hard his job is.
So are you saying then that they're saying Peyton had a better offensive mind than Tom Brady? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, he did. He does.
I'm not so sure about that because actually the degree of difficulty is higher for Tom Brady because he is mostly accepting the play called, and then he's going to read it on the fly. You want to talk about speed reading? And he's going to throw it to an Edelman or an Amendola or a Chris Hogan this year down the stretch because he didn't even have Gronk, right? Mm-hmm. So he has no real deep threat, and he has no tight end that's uncoverable. Right. He has Martellus, but he's going to speed read it and find the open guy. And those 3 that I first mentioned, they're not going to separate very quickly from anybody. And he's going to hit him with the most catchable pass I've ever seen thrown. Sweet passes, right on the button, under pressure. Not only under pressure from the defensive front, but under the magnitude of Super Bowl pressure. Because you want to talk about clutchness, there's never been a quarterback more clutch than Tom Brady. So if I'm taking my money to the playoff bank or the Super Bowl bank, I don't want Peyton's money because it's going to be a little counterfeit, man. It's not going to work.
But this is why Peyton Manning gets so much credit and he gets so much blame, kind of like LeBron, because they say in the offense that they're running, that was Charlie Weiss. They run in variations, but it's basically Charlie Weiss's offense. This is Peyton's offense. Peyton's the coach. So like LeBron James, he gets majority, the lion's share of the credit when they win, but he also takes the lion's share of the blame when they lose. You see, Skip, what you like to do, you say, oh, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady is great, and then you try to, when Peyton Manning, well, he's bad. Look at Peyton's team. You make it seem like Peyton Manning, his last year, he started in Indy. They were 10-6. They went to the playoffs. The year he didn't start, they got Andrew Luck. Tom Brady misses in 2008. They go 11-5. They go 3-1 without Tom Brady.
Here's the point. All those guys, all those great coaches who were polled here, if you put all of them on a lie detector and said, one game for your life, pick a quarterback, every one of them would take Tom Brady. I promise you they would. And by the way, in total, they still ranked Tom Brady in the whole group ranked him number 1.
Right.
Okay?
So at home on the
you
road.
Don't think they'd all take him? Either way.
No, I mean, because all I know, in 3 of the last 5 championship games that he played against Peyton Manning, he lost.
Okay.
That's fact.
Okay, but the record is so much deeper and better.
But
it's like 25-9 versus Peyton. Look at this. Look how many times Peyton came up small. That's more times than LeBron's come up small.
But see, the narrative.
No, I'm serious.
But see, the narrative that's out there is that Tom Brady has dominated Peyton Manning.
Yeah, it was a fair fight.
But here's the thing. When Peyton Manning got better defenses, like when Tom had in New England, when he had Seymour and McGinnis, and he had Ty Law and Rodney Harrison.
I don't think those were all-time great defenses.
No, but they were better than what Peyton had. Then all of a sudden he got Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware. All of a sudden, well, Peyton has more talent. But you never made that argument for Tom Brady.
It feels a little prisoner of the moment. I feel like it was a consensus that Joe Montana was the greatest ever until Tom Brady won the championship, and now he's under Peyton. How did that happen? Feels a little
did that happen?
When you look at those, Skip, so 5 MVPs don't mean anything?
No, I'm not saying it doesn't mean anything. I feel like Joe Montana was
used
the
to
GOAT,
say
and he got
before
promoted.
Peyton had the last run with your Broncos, which was highly impressive to me, even though he's broken down and kind of a shell of himself.
Correct.
He made some clutch throws.
He did.
But I used to call him the greatest regular season quarterback ever. Period. End of story. Because I couldn't make much of a case for him in the postseason, while Brady, I can make nothing but cases for Brady in the postseason.
I'm not arguing Tom Brady. You can make a case that he's number one, but you look at what that guy did and the longevity, and you look at total body of work, the All-Pros, the MVPs, the Super Bowls, the yardage, the touchdowns. It's hard to say he's not, Skip.
No mercy. Former boxing great Oscar De La Hoya has loudly criticized the upcoming Conor Floyd fight. De La Hoya, who is now the head of Golden Boy Promotions, fought Mayweather in 2007. De La Hoya said, "I personally think as a promoter, Mayweather has not been good for boxing because fighters now are thinking all about business and not thinking about the fight and not thinking about the fans. People pay their hard-earned money to buy a ticket and want to be entertained, not by dancing around and not getting hit. They want to see a show." Skip, do you agree with De La Hoya?
Thank you, Oscar, for saying exactly what I've been trying to say to you.
Boo!
Boo you. Look, I know Oscar's got an axe to grind. He's promoting Canelo Alvarez, and obviously Canelo's going to fight Triple G on September 16th, and now it's just been rendered an afterthought by what's going to happen on August 26th. Boom!
Who's fighting on September 16th?
That's
Where they
about
fight?
right.
Where they fighting
Where
at?
are they? I don't even know. I don't even care. Everybody would be burned out, like they'll just be worn out from what's going to happen on August 26th. And this is less than an undercard now. So I get it. But that doesn't undercut what he said. And Joy read these words, and I'm going to read them one more time just to hope that they sink in for our viewers, because it's exactly how I feel about Floyd Mayweather. People do not want to see somebody run. How many times have I said that to you? Run, 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 run. People do not want to see somebody win a 12-round boxing match by out-slicking the opponent. I don't. People pay their hard-earned money to buy a ticket and want to be entertained, not by dancing around Floyd and not getting hit. Floyd may or may not weather. They want to see a show. They want to see people stand toe-to-toe and actually fight each other. It's a novel concept when it comes to Floyd. So what happened? We had our friend Michael Eric Dyson in here.
Yep.
Was it last week? I'm losing track.
Last Thursday, wasn't it?
Yeah, okay. And we discussed, how is Floyd viewed by the black community? Is he loved, not so much, or loved, or what are the emotions? And you guys expressed your thoughts, and it was very interesting to me. So I listened, and then I said, I'm just speaking as a white guy here. I don't like Floyd because he's the most boring boxer in the history of boxing. And I am a big boxing fan dating way back to the early Ali days. And I miss Muhammad Ali standing toe-to-toe with Joe Frazier and saying, the best man is going to win here. And they put each other in the hospital in Manila. They nearly killed each other. And it was a fight, man. And Michael made the point, this is Floyd's style, and he's sort of, this is the way a lot of people in the black community have to operate, kind of out-slick you a little bit, to get around all the injustices. So I get that. But it's just hard for me to watch because Floyd has sort of undercut the spirit of the sport, which is to stand and engage. And Floyd wins by not boxing, and I always call him the best defensive fighter ever, but it's just not fun to watch. And it's like he's getting away. The judges are letting him get away with the style that should be penalized, but they don't. I've told you from the start, when I was just a novice going to my first Ali fight to cover it. It was the second Spinks fight in New Orleans. I think it was 77. And I'm asking, because I didn't cover boxing, the aggressor wins the round. The aggressor wins the round. That's all I heard from my elders in the sports writing community. Really, the aggressor wins the round. So I took that to heart. And that's why I thought Pacquiao actually won the fight against Floyd, because Floyd just wouldn't fight him. There was a lot of jabbing going on, and Floyd landed a lot of little peck punches, little like mosquito bite punches to me. And
had him whipped up at the end of the night.
He did not. He did not. He didn't have a mark on his face.
Bumps everywhere.
Bumps everywhere. Oh, please. and it's not fighting anymore. I don't know what it is. It's defensive fighting. It's non-fighting. It's unfighting. And Oscar's just laying it right on the table, even though he has an axe to grind. People just don't want to see somebody run. And it's what scares me about this fight. And some people dread it because they say it's a mismatch and he's not going to lay a glove on him. Okay, well, one reason he may not land a glove on him is that the judges are going to let Floyd get away from just running and running and running and not fighting. not engaging in any sort of combat. It's supposed to be a combat sport. And if the judges let Floyd get away with not being the aggressor in any round, because I promise you, Conor McGregor will come after him from the start to the finish, whenever that'll be. And Conor he's not afraid of getting hit by Floyd because he knows Floyd can't hurt him or knock him out. So it's going to be one guy trying to do what Oscar wants to see, one guy's trying to give the people what they want is a show, and the other guy's trying to undercut the whole spirit of combat sports by evading, ducking, shoulder rolling, and after a while, it's just hard to watch. And if the judges are going to let him get away with it, because they'll probably end up being boxing judges, then it's just sorry. It's pathetic. It's not worth it. Then we shouldn't even have a quote unquote fight because it's not a fight. It's not a fight. You know it's not.
Can I ask you a question? What do they call boxing? A sweet science.
I've never understood that term, actually.
You and I.
I don't ever call it. I've read that since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Sweet science?
Sweet.
There's nothing sweet about it.
Because the objective is to hit and not get hit. You understand what I'm saying? Sweet science, hit. Skip, if you notice, Joy read something. Joy, read that part, that topic here about De La Hoya. He said something about personally.
I personally think as a promoter.
As a promoter! Oh, Skip, as a promoter. See, Mayweather took the power away from the promoters. He's like, why is Bob Arum? Why is Don King, Lou Duva? Why are they making all the money and taking none of the risk? Why do I have to go away for training camp for 8 weeks while they're at home in their beds? So he formed Mayweather Productions. Also, De La Hoya was quick. He just wasn't as quick because he started what, Skip? Golden Boy Promotion. He had no problem with Floyd Mayweather's fighting style as long as he was the headliner. Because he talked about how when Floyd was on his undercard, he was talking about how he was the top dog. But in 2007, when Floyd overtook him, he went by the name, before he got into the ring, he went by Pretty Boy. He pretty because he been fighting for 20 years, not a blemish on his face. No cuts, no plastic surgery. Needs none of that because they can't hit what they can't see. Then Mayweather leaves the ring. He is the new king. And now he's like, oh, so De La Hoya have a problem because all the guys want to talk about is the business aspect of it. Floyd Mayweather saw how Joe Frazier, how Muhammad Ali, some of the all-time greats, not only did they leave the ring broke financially, they left broke emotionally, mentally. He said, that ain't gonna be me. He said, hold on, wait a minute, I just wanna make sure. I can win a fight, and I don't have to get punched upside my head. I don't have to get in a slugfest. Because you and I joke saying knockout pays double, but he says, I make the same whether I knock the guy out or I win by points. So let me see how I wanna do this. I can make $600, $700 million in my career, have all my faculties when I leave, or I can make half that because it's gonna cut down on the length of time that I can actually fight, and then in 5 and 10 years, I don't even know how much money I got. I don't really know who I am. So he saw early on, this is the way I'm going to fight. De La Hoya is upset. You couldn't have said it any better. I couldn't have said it any better myself, Skip. He's upset because he might have the best fight in the last decade.
Yeah.
And nobody cares.
No.
Everybody, he's upset that a guy that has a terrible fighting style that's bad for the sport of boxing is fighting a guy that's not a professional boxer. He's a UFC, and they've drowned out my prize fight. Remember, Bob Arum used to promote De La Hoya. He also promoted Floyd Mayweather. So Floyd was on a lot of undercards of De La Hoya. See, De La Hoya had no problem with Floyd Mayweather as long as he was top dog. He's no longer top dog. He's no longer the great. Mayweather passed him. Everything that he accomplished, now he won a gold medal. You can't take that away from him. East LA came up hard. But Floyd professionally was a better fighter than De La Hoya. Now, De La Hoya got in some wars. He won some fights. Still don't think he beat, was it Taylor or Sweet Pea? Might have been Sweet Pea. I don't think he won that fight, but that's neither here nor there. Skip, if you can make money like Floyd can, and you don't have to just get beat upside your head, if you going to see Floyd fight like you think you're going to see a Hagler Hearns or a Hagler John Mugabe or Iran Skip, you're not going to see that. If you think you're going to see Ali Frazier, Ali Foreman, or Norton, you're not going to see that. But if you want to see ballet, you want to see Baryshnikov.
Why wouldn't I just go to the ballet then?
You want to see Baryshnikov with gloves.
You know what, Joy, would you like to go to the ballet with me? We
There's
could go.
a bunch of,
you know what, on August
there's a ton
26th?
of fabulous shows
You know
in
what?
Vegas, great dancers.
Let's just
You
go
got
to the
Cirque du
ballet.
Soleil.
Cirque du Soleil. I love Cirque du
like
Soleil.
Doc said,
Let's go see it.
Like the dog said
That's
about
sweet
Floyd.
science
He
to
said the pugilistic excellence.
Yeah.
He said, hey, the shoulder roll, the way he could do it, Skip.
Yeah.
Why? I can't believe De La Hoya.
Shannon, you're not even keeping it real right
I can't believe that. Look here. See, Skip. These guys you tell me all the time, I read the magazine, you bench all that weight, block me straight up. For what? I found a way that I can get you on the ground, TD can get his 100 yards, and I don't have to do that. I said, first of all, this is for show. They try to do a left blocking you, busting up my hand and all this stuff. I said, someday I'm gonna have to walk away from the game. I don't want all these scars and be all gnarly. Skip.
Okay, I got that, and I respect that, and I get what you're saying. It's an insightful point on your part. But it doesn't disqualify what Oscar is saying to fight fans that nobody wants to see Floyd run. That's it.
Why didn't he say this when Floyd was on his undercard? Why didn't he say this when he fought Floyd? I'm not fighting a guy that doesn't have his style, he ain't gonna engage me. I don't want this fight.
You know what? That was an all-time pillow fight between those two. I couldn't even watch it.
And
I was
who won?
falling asleep.
Who won?
The judges let him get away.
No, don't do that, Skip.
With running. I don't know why they let him get
De La
away
Hoya
with
should have
it.
knocked him out.
Just because De La Hoya is saying this from a personal place does not mean he's wrong. A big
Yeah.
part of the reason that boxing's widespread popularity has gone down is because there aren't American heavyweights knocking each other out anymore. And that's why UFC has swooped in because they actually fight each other.
Actually, the boxing heavyweights, they play NFL football and basketball now.
Right,
That's what they are, Skip.
You were probably right, but
So
that doesn't make De La Hoya wrong.
No mercy.
Thanks for checking out the Undisputed podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. We're back again tomorrow morning at 9:30 Eastern.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.